Last week, I showed you how to build a killer guitar cab for only $244. And naturally, the comments section delivered this gem from the viewer known as FKA Dull. Sorry, I meant FKA Skull.
You're the guy pushing cheap Chinese crap on people while you go out and buy yourself a Neve console.
Yeah, apparently helping people on a budget makes me the bad guy. So this week, by request, we're gonna do the exact opposite. Buckle up, Captain Made in America. This one's gonna hurt. I've spent a lot of time on this channel hunting down budget tube amps that actually hold their own against the big names. Amps that don't cost your firstborn child, but still sound pretty damn good in a mix. Most of you guys get it. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I'm grateful for you. But there's always a very special breed of commenter who shows up to cry about, if it's made in China, it's garbage, while typing into their made in China iPhone. Irony is not these guys' strong suit. Only American amps are real amps. Glenn, you're just shilling cheap crap now. Yeah, especially on stuff I paid for it with my own money to make the fucking video. But I do get their point. Obviously, the location of the final assembly matters more than the circuit design, speaker choice, or, the actual playing that goes into the amp. So when Magnatone approached me and asked, hey, would you like to check out the brand new Slash Signature 100-watt all-tube head, handmade in the USA? I figured, why the hell not? This is exactly what the whiny bitches in my cheap amp videos keep asking for. It's built in America. It's got a famous name on the nameplate, and it's $4,000. And it's not some no-name clone. It's a legit boutique company with a legacy going back to the 50s. So I thought, surely this is gonna finally shut those guys up. Surely they'll line up and buy this thing by the truckload because it checks every box those guys are always yelling about. And $4,000 is a completely reasonable asking price if you're Slash or a dentist or Slash's dentist. But here's the real question. Is it actually worth $4,000? Or is it just another overpriced tone trophy for somebody with more dollars than brains? Turns out, yeah, this one's pretty fucking great. Let's take a closer look. Now you might be wondering, how the hell did this guy wind up endorsing that amp? Let's talk about Slash for a second. This guy's been a Marshall lifer for over 3 decades. Every time you've seen him on stage, it's been with a wall of Marshalls. He's probably done more to sell Marshalls than Marshall has. So when I saw that he'd partnered up with Magnatone, I was like, what's going on there? Magnatone? The company that makes vintage combos with fancy vibrato circuits? Yeah, that's exactly what I need in a high-gain rock amp. Nothing screams in-your-face melting distortion like a built-in surf rock warble machine. As it turns out, Slash tried out their 50-watt M80 in the studio and was, quote, blown away by how it sounded. That led to a collaboration with Magnatone, and the result is the SL100, a full-blown 100-watt all-tube fire breather built in the USA, just like every keyboard warrior in my comments section swears is the only way to achieve real tone, while somehow still managing to fuck up actually recording a guitar every single time they try. Now, this isn't some cash grab, slap your name on it affair. They built this thing with actual intention. It's got 2 gain modes, low and high, so you're not stuck with one flavor of distortion. And then I did something trying it out that I rarely do with amps, and that's I actually sat down and read the fucking manual. Crazy, I know! But 2 things jumped out at me. One, it says that the low gain setting is voiced like a vintage SL amp from the 60s and 70s. Now, I can only assume that SL means super lead, as in the classic Marshall Plexi. You know, the 100-watt beast that defined hard rock guitar for a generation and made your fillings rattle loose. And number 2, the manual says that power tube saturation kicks in at around 7 or 8 on the master volume. And I don't know about you, but Plexis and power tube saturation make me think of early Van Halen. Because let's be honest, that sound is one of the most iconic rock guitar tones ever recorded. It changed the way players approached the instrument and pretty much launched 1,000 amp mod shops in its wake. It's the kind of tone that makes grown men cry. And forum dweebs argue for weeks over what voltage his Variac was set to. Now, obviously, getting Mr. Van Halen on the show is an impossibility, but I did make some calls, pulled a few strings, and managed to track down his fifth cousin, twice removed, straight out of Springfield. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ned Van Haglen. Let it rip, Ned.
Hokely dokely.
All right, I can already see the comments rolling in. That doesn't sound like Van Halen. Yeah, you're right. I don't have the exact cab that they mic'd up at Sunset Sound way back when Van Halen 1 was being recorded. Because here's the truth, the speaker's the deciding factor when you're recording electric guitar. You can have the right head, the right pickups, the right room, but if your speaker's wrong, you are chasing tone ghosts. I had to make do with the new Celestion EVH speakers. They're 20 watts and voiced like vintage 60s greenbacks. Are they exact? No. Are they close enough to melt your face off? You're damn right they are. Of course, I would love to hook this thing up to my 1977 Blackbacks for something more era-specific, but I've got them loaded into a Happy Cabs 2x12, and I'm not convinced that they could survive the full-on nuclear output of the Magnetone. This thing sounds best with everything dimed, and there is no way in hell I am risking my vintage speakers. Not unless I find a second pair and wire up a proper 4x12 to share the pain. Now, just to really piss off the gear snobs, I stuck an ultra dirt cheap Kalin 10-band EQ in front of the amp. Drop the lows, boost the mids, and crank the output. Boom. That's the secret to the sound right there. It's not some mythical new old stock preamp tube soaked in unicorn drippings. Before the same people who complain about affordable tube amps pivot to whining about how I never play any clean tones, here you go. Aw, man, I think the clock is slow. There, you fucking happy? And oh yeah, I guess I'd better try out channel 2. Not really sure why, since low gain channel already sounds so fucking unbelievable, but hey, let's be thorough here. All right, that sounded pretty thick, to be honest with you. I'd like to use that on a project at some point. It's a little bit different from the normal modern high gain stuff I do. But I gotta be honest here, I'm absolutely in love with the low gain setting on this amp because it gets me tones like this. Now, it's not an exact match, but come on, let's be honest. It's the closest I've ever gotten to the Van Halen 1 sound here on Spectre Sound, so I'll take it. Now, of course, how it sounds on its own doesn't mean jack. Unless you're standing on one leg playing Eruption for the millionth time at Guitar Center for the poor bastards who work there and are forced to listen to stuff like that every single day. Let's hear how it sounds in a full mix. So what do I really think about this 100 watt made in the USA all tube monster? Let's give this amp the Spectre Sound 5-star breakdown. For build and portability, 4 stars. The build quality is absolutely top notch. This is exactly what you'd expect from a $4,000 amp. Hand-wired, premium components, and it even comes with a 3-year warranty. Downside, it's a freaking tank. It's not exactly the most portable amp ever designed, but let's be honest, the people complaining about affordable tube amps that I recommend are usually playing in front of their My Little Pony collection from their bedroom in their mom's basement. Excuse me, bachelor pad. Not hauling actual gear to actual gigs where actual people would come to see them play. Features and controls, 4 stars. You get high gain, low gain, and 1 set of knobs. That is it. No MIDI, no 87 modes, no 10,000 models, no screen the size of an iPad. This isn't a modern jack-of-all-trades amp for mindlessly genting away on the low string. This is a throwback to a time when guitarists wrote riffs, the kind that people actually remembered. And the records those riffs wound up on? Yeah, those were worth paying money for. Sound, 5 stars. At moderate volume, I thought it sounded pretty freaking good, although the presence knob got a bit gnarly when you started turning it up. But when you crank up everything to 10, holy fucking hell! This is when the amp transforms into something completely different. Wide open, this thing delivers the kind of dynamic, articulate distortion that most guitar players spend their whole lives chasing. Ease of recording, 5 stars. This amp loves a microphone. Crank it to 10, stick a 57 at the wire splat on your favorite greenback or greenback adjacent speaker, and you're off to the races. No menu diving, no IR loading, no third-party wizard spills, just plug in, mic up, and go. Just make sure your tracking room is soundproof because your neighbors 3 blocks over are definitely going to hear it and probably call the cops on you. Overall, 4.5 stars. The only reason it's not a full 5 is because it's stupidly heavy and with only 1 EQ shared across 2 channels. That said, everything sounds so damn good when it's cranked up that I totally get why they kept it that simple. But here's the real deal. In the studio, this thing absolutely slays. It's exactly the kind of tone I've wanted for years, and the SL100 makes capturing it completely effortless. I totally get why Slash was blown away by the M80, because the SL100 blew me away the second I let it off the chain. If you're looking for the best of the best when it comes to this style of amp, this is it. One of the things I love to do on this show is recommend cheap gear that works. And I review expensive gear so you don't have to waste money on stuff that doesn't. That's called helping people, not just flexing for strangers on forums. And if FKA Skull still wants to bitch about that, maybe he should start saving for a real amp or a lobotomy, whichever makes it sound better. And naturally, the comment section. Fuck. America! Fuck yeah, just like do that. This gem from a and naturally the screaming eagle gun, cannons going off in the distance, maybe, I don't know.